Hey there, this is LaQuita with QuitaBugHandmaids.com. Thank you so much for joining me today for another Stampin' Up! Tutorial. So today I am going to share a quick project with you featuring the Animal Outing stamp set paired with the Painted Harvest stamp set. So over on my team Facebook page, our challenge for last week, because when you see this video it will be for last week, was to create a card that was themed around fun in the sun. So I'm going to share with you the idea that I came up with, and I have not made a sample of this card. It's just all in my head, and I have cut the pieces, and hopefully it comes out how I envision it. So let's go ahead and get started. All right, so I've got my pieces here, and I'm going to start with this little scrap piece of Whisper White. In soft suede ink, I'm going to be stamping that cute little giraffe from the Animal Outing stamp set. So I'm just going to ink that up and stamp it right here on this little piece of scrap. Okay, looks good. Now I'm going to bring in my blender pen, and while this ink is wet, I want to just move it around and color in these little spots. You might not be able to see this, so I'll hold it up in just a second. So I haven't used a blender pen in I don't know how long, but there's some sort of magic stuff in here that moves ink around. Really fun. Okay, so I've got that, and I'm just going to scribble off the extra here. Clean my blender pen while I'm thinking about it. So hopefully you can see here how I just moved that ink around and filled in those little spots. And while I have my soft suede ink out, I'm going to bring in this piece of Whisper White. I die cut this using our stitched rectangle dies. So I'm just going to stamp, actually I didn't even test it out. Okay, yeah, I didn't make sure that the sentiment would fit. I'm just going to stamp the sentiment that says, "Thank you, big time." I'm going to stamp that down here at the bottom in soft suede. Okay, that looks great, and I think that's all I need this for. So now I'm going to come in with my dark and light shade of Daffodil Delight. These are the Stampin' blends. So I'm going to start with the dark shade, and I'm just going to go over a couple little areas here in the dark shade for some shadowing here. So I'm just kind of throwing it in a few little spots, and then I'm gonna come in, go over those dark spots with my light shade. Alright, so I think that looks pretty good, so you can see how that coloring looks. Really simple. So now I've got this piece of Whisper White cardstock here. This is cut 3.5 inches by 4 3/4 inches. I'm going to be stamping using that Painted Harvest stamp set, and that is a photopolymer stamp set. So I'm just going to bring in my piercing mat here, and I've got my Daffodil Delight ink. The piercing mat is just going to help me get a really good impression here. So I am going to stamp this sunflower image. Let me put some scratch paper. I'm going to use it like it's the sun. So I'm just going to ink that up. I'm going to have it kind of hang off of the edge, just like that. That looks good. Ink up the second layer of that image, and I'm just going to stamp it down. Just like so. And I think I'm going to leave it like that. I don't think I'm going to fill in the center. We'll see. So then I'm going to go back to this piece, and in Mint Macaron, I think I want to add a couple of the little leaf image right here from Painted Harvest. so I'm just gonna ink this up and stamp off once, and then I'm gonna stamp on, twist, stamp on again. So you get 2 shades there of that mint macaron. So I used the Animal Friends dies, which coordinate with the Animal Outing stamp set, and my die cutting machine, and I cut out our giraffe and then also these 2 little green leafy pieces. I cut those out of garden green cardstock. So let's go ahead and start putting this card together. So I've got a piece of Whisper White thick. This is cut 4 1/4 inches by 11 inches, and I've scored it at 5 1/2 inches. And all of these measurements are on today's blog post, linked in the video description below. So I've got some of this Mosaic Mood, I believe it's called, designer series paper. This is 4 inches by 5 1/4 inches, and I am going to add this to my card base. Isn't this side so pretty? I'm gonna add this on with Snail. I loved this leafy pattern. It had a nice, like, wild jungle feel to it to me, so that's why I chose it for this card. All right, and then I'm gonna add my sun layer. Just stick that right here in the center. All right, so I'm gonna be honest with you guys. I'm not liking this. I'm not liking the sun, and there's too much white space happening here for me, and this little sprig isn't working either. So I'm gonna scrap this. I will figure out how to maybe use this for something else, but I'm gonna scrap this idea and change it up just a little bit. Okay, so I die cut another piece of Whisper White using the stitched rectangle dies, and I am going to ink up my sentiment again. I think this ink pad needs re-inking as well, so I'll just stamp that down here at the bottom. Okay, I think that looks okay. I am going to bring back my scratch paper, and I think I want the leafy image from the Animal Outing stamp set instead. So I'll just get that onto a block. And mint macaron ink. And let's see what we think about this. So I'm still going to stamp off, and let's see. Trying to decide, how do I want this? Okay, I'll go here, and then I'll go here. I just don't want to get the little frog. There we go. Okay, so I think that looks good. All right, so I've got another Whisper White thick card base. Same measurements as before. Another piece of that designer paper, same measurements as before, and I'm just gonna add some snail. Then I went ahead and die cut another piece of Whisper White using another one of those stitched rectangles. So this one will just nest the tiny one or the smaller one right inside. So I am going to put this here. Then I'm going to put this one here, and then I am going to put my little giraffe in there, and I like this so much better. This makes my eyes happy. The other one was just not doing something for me. I don't know what it was. Okay, so, well, I know what it was. It was the white space. Anyways, okay, so we're gonna go with this. All right, so I've got dimensionals on the back of both of my stitched rectangles, so I will just pop this one right there, and then we'll center this one on top. That one there, and then I've got some mini dimensionals on my giraffe. go. And we'll just put that cute little giraffe, I guess like that. Yeah, just like that. And there it is. I love this. And you can see the embossing or that little bit of a coating on top of this designer paper. So pretty. I love this. So I'm glad you guys kind of got to see my creative process. This is what happens all the time too, when things just don't turn out the way that I have them in my head. But I really love how this looks. This is perfect. So I hope that you guys enjoyed today's video. Don't forget you can find all of the measurements for today's project over on the coordinating blog post linked below in the video description. And of course, you can shop with me in my online Stampin' Up! Store. You can get all of the supplies that I used here today or whatever you need. I have links to my online store down below as well as over on today's blog post. So thank you guys so much, and I will be back soon with another tutorial. Bye now.